If I got a Pappy 23, I'm never opening that bottle. It's gonna sit on my mantle, give it to my son to open at his like wedding or something like that, or I'm gonna sell the damn thing. Yeah. Because to be honest with you, it's not good. This is Arsenic Culture, and I'm Matt.
And I'm Jason.
And I'm Drew.
And I have a question for both of you. What do you think of the secondary market?
It's after the firstiary market.
And before the tertiary market.
Yeah. Brain trust over here. One of those words is not like the other. I know Drew's is a little weird. I don't know. Firstiary market. That's fucking awesome. So the secondary market is something that has come up in our show a lot.
I've heard of it.
Primarily with bourbon.
Yeah.
A lot of times with beer. But it exists on lots of different planes, not just alcohol. There is some alcohol where it is exorbitant, like wine. You remember we did the Rudy Cornelius episode?
Oh, yeah, I do. That's a good one.
And like, people are paying millions of dollars in the secondary market for some of these bottles of wine. But then you get like shoes. You got like, what the fuck else is like on a secondary market? I mean, fucking like stamps.
Clothes.
Yeah, like
watches.
Literally anything.
Jewelry, gold, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it just kind of got me thinking, like, it's hard to, like, if you are in something,
Yep.
like you're into beer, you're into bourbon, you're into, sneakers.
What's in the magic cards? Pokemon
Right, yeah.
cards,
Literally,
baseball
yeah,
cards,
Pokemon cards.
basketball
Any kind of
cards.
collectible, yeah. And
One of
yes.
my cousins, his job is to buy Pokemon cards and then resell them on eBay.
Yeah.
I don't think he makes a lot of money.
Oh, I bet he
but,
does.
like, he makes enough to, like, pay
Go Taco Bell.
whatever it costs to live in his parents' basement, So, I mean, that's something. But yeah, it's just like, if you are in whatever industry that is, okay? And it's like you have a legitimate, like, yearning to get something, a specific item. We'll just call it item A, right? And you can't get that because hype has turned it into some anomalous beast that is just like, makes it impossible when the retail value is like $10 or $50.
Do you remember the first time that you were aware of the secondary market? I do, actually, I think. Not even in beer or bourbon, just in the world.
Like, I would say baseball cards when I was a kid.
That's a good answer.
You know
That's
what I
a good
mean?
answer.
Yeah.
What about you, Drew?
I think it was some movie that I watched back in the 80s where they were talking about artwork.
Okay.
Like some mystery, somebody stole something.
Art's a huge one, yeah.
I think baseball cards is probably the right answer, but for me, what I remember is those freaking Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
You remember how crazy people went for those, like early 90s,
So
late
Beanie
80s?
Babies, I feel like it's a weird case because
No, it was remember the Princess Diana Beanie Baby? That was like the crown jewel.
they
I
were
remember that.
popular and like everybody bought them, but I feel like there was never an actual secondary
Oh, there
market
was.
for it.
Huge.
Are you sure?
100%.
See, I remember all
100%. eBay.
That was the ongoing joke, though, is all these people bought these Beanie Babies, but like you couldn't move them.
Oh, you could. Well, see, you're talking about later. When they first came out, we never saw them. Like, I wasn't collecting stuffed animals at that time.
Yeah.
But like I would hear about, like, what the hell's a
he
Beanie Baby?
definitely was.
I had a few. They're so cute. But I remember the Princess Diana one was just like this crazy, thing that you'd never see in your life.
Yeah.
But there was all these. You go to card shows like basketball, baseball. I collected those, traded them, went to the shows. You would see Beanie Babies then.
How many years ago was that?
We're talking probably 94.
Oh, so that was a long
we're
time
talking
ago.
between 90 and 95.
Yeah. What was that,
somewhere
like,
in there.
like 8 years ago?
Yeah, about seven years ago. That's what I feel like.
That's
but
what
that's
it feels
not,
like.
that's not true.
Yeah, you say 90s, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that just happened. Yeah.
You have to be born in the 90s to get beer. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought it was like the 70s.
I know, that's what it feels like, yeah. That's
the first
cool.
one I remember. That's the first one.
Okay, the fact that you know what a Princess Di Beanie Baby is, that lends me to think that
I think
you
I could
actually
pick one out.
collected
I think
Beanie
it's
Babies.
purple with a little rose or something.
Yeah,
there.
you
I'm
collected
pretty sure.
Beanie Babies.
I
You
did
definitely
not.
collected Beanie Babies. I remember when I was a kid, my next door neighbor, Thomas Morgan, actually Jack's brother, he was like, I have an aunt who has a brother who has like a dog sitter whose like mom
Best friend.
is related to Carlton Fisk. And I was
Catcher.
like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. He's like, if you have a Carlton Fisk card, I can get it signed for you. And
I know where it's going.
I was like, oh, well, hell yeah. So he told this to every kid in the neighborhood. And like, we're all like bringing him, like, we got Tops, we got Bowman, we got like whatever Carlton Fisk cards that we got.
Right.
And we
Don
handed it to
Russ,
him.
there's some Don Russ cards.
And then Fleer. And then we were just like, yeah,
Yep.
he get a sign. He was like, all right. So he took him and he did, sent him off or whatever. Like a week goes by, we're like, where's my Carlton Fisk signed autographed card, bitch? And he's like, oh, she hadn't gotten him yet. It's just like she's working on it. Like another week goes by and like, where's our Carlton Fisk autographed cards? And he's like, well, she got him, but like, she's trying to track him down. He's real busy. Like he plays baseball for a living, guys. We're like, okay. Yeah. Like another 4 weeks go by, we're like, where's Carlton Fisk? Like she's working on it. Just trust me, it's there. We never got our fucking Carlton Fisk cards back. I'm pretty sure he was like, that was like his favorite player.
Yeah.
And he was just like, give me all the cards.
I thought you were going to go, he just signed them himself.
Right, yeah.
No, that would have been even better.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Or he took the cards. Carlton Fisk was immediately elected to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then the price went up on those cards and he sold
And he
them all
just
in the
resold
secondary
them on the
market.
secondary, yeah. I imagine getting it back in like his handwriting with the signature
Yeah.
on there. And like 30 years later, I'm like going to a trade show and they're like, who's Bob Goldthwait? I don't know.
I've signed a few Michael Jordan in my day. Here you go, kid.
Yeah, that's a tangent, but I mean, I think that kind
No,
of
it's
like
secondary. We're
that
talking
kind of
secondary.
encompasses secondary.
So while we're talking about that, there's a bottle behind you, Matt, that's just appeared.
Which one?
It's that one that says King.
Oh, it's like a magic trick. You didn't even see that behind
So we've
me.
actually opened this on a previous episode,
Yeah, I'll
but
let
for
you
this
do
one, it's a great
That was
one to
our
revisit.
100th episode.
It was
where you
100th.
brought that
That's
out.
right.
That was really
That's
cool. I'm gonna wipe my brow here. Shout out to the guys over at the Bourbon House, and we forgot to turn the AC on, but it is starting to finally cool down. So I got my sweat rag, but yeah, these places are badass. They always let us record in their Airbnbs, so check them out at partyhouse.com. That's partyhous.com, and rent it for your party and have a party and drink any of this liquor behind me, except for this King of Kentucky.
Yeah, that's not staying.
That is
That's
not
staying.
staying. That is definitely not staying. So, but thanks for pulling that back out, man. So the bourbon secondary market has been something that's like really hits close to home for most of us. You more so. When I first started getting into bourbon and started realizing how crazy the secondary already was, I bowed out. I was like, I am not spending time. It was honestly, you and I, Jason, talked about like sneakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I saw some cool shit and I was like, I do not need another time sink and another money sink. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna like sit back from afar. But I mean, it's pretty much, as far as bourbon specifically goes, I feel like it has ruled the industry for the past 6 years.
It has.
Yeah.
At least.
The pandemic.
Pandemic, right.
The pandemic,
Yeah.
not COVID. Pandemic made it much worse. People sitting at home, whatever. But now we've seen, people will say market correction for bourbon. It's not a market correction. It's a complete and total downslide.
Yeah.
Like it is a downslide.
Like as in, it's just.
So if you bought a bottle in the pandemic and you bought it for $300, a lot of those bottles you'd be lucky to get 200 out of today or 150.
Right.
So people were buying it thinking everything's going up, everything's going up, everything's going up. Well, it didn't. It's like the housing market crash.
Right.
Think of it that way in bourbon.
Well,
Now this one's been immune to that.
the King of Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, it's $2,000.
Well, there was like, we had talked about like investment groups coming together.
They were.
And like you get like 20 people, 50 people, and they would all buy like a barrel of Pappy or something, right?
Well, not a barrel. They would buy a lot of bottles. So they would buy 5 King Kentuckys or 100 at $1,800 each, thinking, well, it keeps going up. It's going to go up to $5,000 in 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, it did go up, and this one again is $2,000 roughly, depending on which bottles you get. But still, your return on investment's not what it was.
No.
And a lot of those bottles went down.
They were treating it like the hedge fund of bourbon. You know?
It's the housing market, literally. Like it just crashed. It just crashed.
Yeah, but I mean, with that, there's so much speculation when you go in and you're going to try to, hey, we think that it's going to go here, but it's just like anything else. I guess you don't know how long that wave is going to go, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is a 2024, right? So it's probably near the peak, I would say then. And then now we're starting to see everything kind of pull back a little bit. And it's like all those people who are speculating, I
think there's a few
taking a little
things
bite.
like in bourbon that have been The drop, they're proof. They're not going to. They're going to be immune to that drop. I think the
few bottles, you mean?
Yeah, a few bottles. Pappy is always going to have it.
Sure.
It's not as much as it was. I mean, it's not came downy. It's just not went up anymore.
Right.
King Kentucky, same way. This is a Brown-Forman product, and it's their peak one. It's the best one they have. I mean, by all accounts, essentially. Jack Daniels is part of theirs. Some of their barrel strength Coy Hill from that like specific rickhouse area at Jack Daniels. That's a huge one too. But beyond those, you really see a lot of your secondary going down. It's those mid-tier and like lower high tier. Those are the ones that are just kind of just down.
What do you think it does for bourbon, though? The secondary market as a whole. Like I mentioned that it's pretty much defined the industry. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think it's helped the industry? Do you think it's hurt it?
Great question.
Do you think it's necessary? Because the thing is, generating hype for a lot of these bottles is, I feel like, this is just me, but I feel like it's a very organic process. Brown-Forman can put out all the marketing they want on King of Kentucky, but if it was shit and it was not good, that's only going to get you so far.
People are going to discover that it's not good.
Right. Yeah. Or they're going to figure out, it is shit quality. Maybe it's just like a repurposed like something else. But like, if people start saying it's good, even if it is a shit product, and then like, the next guy over is like, well, I respect that guy's palate, or I want him to respect my palate, so I'm just going to say the same thing. That's kind of like like spreads like wildfire.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
I feel like that's how hype is created.
Well, and it's almost like an imposter syndrome in a way too, But I mean, for the state that we live in, I think that the secondary market and the hype has been great for the growth of bourbon as a whole. Like, look how many distilleries have popped up, right?
Tons of expansions,
right?
Extra jobs. But on the flip side of that, though, it's been a great thing. I think it's also fool's gold. Now you're seeing distilleries close down. You're seeing these smaller ones that are coming out. There's so much in debt. There was one that closed down, I think, in Danville. Mm-hmm. Danville, they hadn't even opened yet, and they're bankrupt, closing down. Like, these people, they've expanded so much. Everybody but Buffalo Trace, like, you're hurting.
Buffalo Trace is fucking still expanding.
Yeah.
Huge,
well, they're like a 3/4 through expansion. But here's the problem, Buffalo Trace too. Like, if you look at it, so they were limiting bottles, one per person, like of Eagle Rare, Weller Special Reserve, every 90 days. Right. Yeah. I went there 2 weeks ago and got something. They don't care. Like, you can come back tomorrow and get another one. Yeah. Like, they're not even checking your
your wrist, whatever. But so I think there's 2 points to that probably. You've got, like, they realize that the hype is kind of dying down, right? But when you think about the scarcity of some of these bottles, because not everybody has the ability to drive 40 minutes, wait for an hour and a half in line, and go have a pick of some nice bottles. Yeah. But some of that scarcity now is going away, right? So
even if you want to throttle it from if you want to create it, so people have always alluded to this. I don't have any proof of this. I don't know that this is true. I don't even know if I believe this, but they say Pappy has been held back. Like, they make it scarce because they can.
Artificial.
Yeah.
What is artificial demand?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So it's like you're manipulating the market. I don't know that I believe that. I mean, maybe to a point. They're not releasing 5 million barrels of Pappy 10.
Right.
But they're releasing a lot, or Van Winkle 10. But from that standpoint, I mean, I think having this more available in your market is going to be a good thing. Like, if you can go to the store and get E.H. Taylor or Eagle Rare or Weller Special Reserve, Blanton's, that's what you used to be able to. If you rewind to like 2018, you could walk in any liquor barn in Lexington, Kentucky, and get a Blanton's at any time of day. If you rewind to 2012, you could get an Elmer T. Lee almost any time you want. I agree. 2009, you could probably get a Pappy. Like,
you could.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, and you're getting to where I was going with my point is that.
See, I knew you were. I was there with you. See,
I knew we shared a connection.
You do it up on instead on the team for me. You create like a buzz, right? And so you can throttle your supply a little bit, but then at some point that spigot needs to be turned back up. And so I think there's an interesting sort of what do we do here from a bourbon standpoint is like, do we want to increase that supply so it's more available in the market? Yes, prices are going to come down because there's excess supply now, but it brings more buyers into the market as well. Because there's so many situations like, I'm like you, secondary market, I've never ever bought a bottle of bourbon on the secondary market, not one time.
I bought a couple, but yeah, no,
I have
I've
bought
never
a lot. I'm more of what I've had to do. I've talked to Matt about this too. So I bought and sold on there. I'm not going to lie, but a lot of times it's like, okay, if I can get a King Kentucky, I want it. I want this bottle to open and drink. But if I didn't, if I got a Pappy 23, I'm never opening that bottle. There's one of two things going to happen. It's going to sit on my mantle. Well, three things. Sit on my mantle, give it to my son to open at his like wedding or something like that.
Right.
Or I'm going to sell the damn thing. Because to be honest with you, it's not good. It's not my jam.
It's not worth the price.
I don't even think it's worth retail. Like it's like licking an oak barrel. And again, my palate's different than everybody else's, but I think if you looked at all the Pappy 23s released, I bet less than 15% ever get opened. Yeah. I bet they're just like traded as currency back and forth.
Yeah, I believe that.
So a lot of times what I would do is if I had a nice bottle, which I've never owned a bottle of Pappy, but if I had a nice bottle and I couldn't trade it to something I wanted, I might sell it and then take that cash and buy something I wanted.
So that's something I want to bring up.
It's currency.
Is the juice worth the squeeze, as the saying goes?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have this one.
It's not exactly. But before I get into that, we're talking about the secondary market being like what, for all intents and purposes, what we're saying is that it is like the market indicator for that industry.
For sure.
So it's like, it's weird, but it's like bourbon itself is not dictating how popular bourbon is.
No.
It's the secondary market's perception of bourbon that is actually making it surge. And then once that interest in the secondary goes down, it seems like the actual industry is following suit. So it's like, without the secondary, would we ever have a bourbon boom? Because if you recall, back in the 80s, fucking nobody wanted bourbon. They were putting it in turkey-shaped decanters lined with lead. You know what I mean?
Those nice. I got some of those nice.
I know, just to get people to fucking buy it, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, somebody's like, you know what? I like this. And then one of his buddies is like, I like you, and I want you to like me, so I like it too.
Yep.
And then hype just goes, boom. And then everybody's just like, let's fucking start buying this shit.
Right.
So
I think if you want to know where it's going, and this could be a lot longer episode, I'll shorten up my part. We can go something else. But I think we're in trouble. I think the bourbon industry's in trouble because there's nowhere to go right now. Like, the high-end stuff's still great. But your medium to lower high-end stuff, if it gets more readily available, there's no secondary to it, which tells you nobody, and people are looking at that as nobody likes it. That's what you said. Like, they're tying it to the dollar.
The perception is
exactly.
it is all about perception.
Let's use an easy bottle here. Let's look at E.H. Taylor, just small batch.
Okay.
At the peak, that was probably going for let's say $150 a bottle
on the secondary.
national. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it might be $75 to $85. It's half.
Well, what's retail on that though?
Retail is caught up, so retail is probably 50 to 60.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's close.
Right. Yeah.
Is that what it is at the distillery?
Yeah. So if you buy Blanton's now at the distillery or any big box store, you're going to pay as much as it is to like buy it secondary. And Eagle Rare is a weird one because some of the stores in town are $60, $55. You can buy Eagle Rare shipped 10-year-old shipped to your front door.
That's pretty.
For like $50.
That's
Because
great
other
now.
market, it is great if you like Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Other markets don't have it jacked as high as our prices here. Kentucky's they took advantage of it, and I get it. They need to recognize, though, they kind of screwed themselves over. You can't keep raising your price to meet secondary when secondary is crashing hard as can be. Like, you're going to pass it. And
Right.
when you hit that point, everybody's going to be like, fuck you.
But isn't that the point from an industry perspective, is to try to like eliminate that disparity in order to have things line up?
from capitalistic, that's right.
We talked about the juice not being worth the squeeze. A fucking $2,000 bottle of Pappy is not worth $2,000.
No.
It's not that good. I mean, that is a flex for all intents and purposes if you're spending that kind of money on it.
But if you have a bourbon drinker that you think their palate's good and you respect, you know them, they're never going to put Pappy 23 in their top 50.
No,
I mean, there's
no,
not.
they're not. No, but it's still commands that kind of price. So like,
it's a status symbol.
yeah, so that's kind of the epitome of, that it does epitomize the secondary market, I believe. But it's like when the prices do come down, when the hype does subside, when bottles become more readily available, Pappy notwithstanding, you can get something like maybe an Elmer again. I don't know. We're not there yet. Bland's, Bland's is becoming easier to come by.
It is.
It's a good bourbon.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. Nothing
but
wrong
for
with
a
it.
point there, it was just like, I don't even want to waste my time with it because it's hard to get and it's expensive.
You don't want to stand in line for 3 hours for a bottle of
that's
Blanc.
ridiculous.
And they did a lot of product placement and a lot of shows and stuff. Which, what did it do? Increase the hype.
Yeah.
Demand goes up. Supply is still low.
Well, everybody's watching John Wick and they're like, oh my God, how did he get a bottle of Blanc?
Precisely. Product placement. That's exactly what they did.
And Yellowstone. I think Yellowstone had the Blantons too.
Yeah,
I'm
and
pretty sure.
they used Weller.
Weller is what it was. My bad.
Yeah. There's that bourbon store, that stuff here where there's that picture
That
of.
painting. Yeah, that was really cool.
You mentioned Elmer T. Lee, and then another one from Buffalo Trace, Rock Hill Farms. So
Yeah.
those are single barrel products. That's what they say on the label. But they've not done single barrel picks of Elmer since I don't know what year. It's been 15 years ago.
Yeah.
They used to do some single barrel picks for like Benny's out of Chicago, stuff like that. They had waxed Elmers with stickers on it.
Yeah.
Those are worth a lot of money. They're still commanding a high price. Now, Buffalo Trace just announced recently they're coming out with Elmer and Rock Hill Farm back in their single barrel program.
That's great.
Well, it's great for us, but then you look at it like, how much in trouble are they? Because you got this crazy big expansion. You're the best thing going in bourbon. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody tells you, Buffalo Trace sets the market, makes the market. They're the man.
Right. But you say how much in trouble. I think it's all relative because being in trouble is one thing, but just being able to provide your product to customers, excuse me,
And they're still not there yet.
At the price point that you originally dictated, that's completely different.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's not like they're hemorrhaging money and they're not selling their product.
Yeah.
They're kind of at that inflection point to where they finally maybe caught up with the hype train or whatever.
Yeah.
But then to your point, it's like if they're raising their prices here, availability's, hype's coming down, they're getting a little more availability. Are we just going to pass each other and then they're going to be in trouble?
We are at certain points, certain distilleries, certain bottles. But like you look at Pappy, let's talk about that one. Let's say Pappy 23, and I don't know the SRP or MSRP right now, probably $500, $400 to $500,
right?
Which sounds crazy, but when that's going for $2,500, $3,000, whatever it is,
insane.
It's still, you're not even close. But if you look at like some of their other products, the Elmer T. Lee's, like that was over $300 during the pandemic. Now, 125, 150 shipped, like it's half price.
Yeah, which is still kind of expensive for Elmer.
But
it
is.
But it's still, it's a
Elmer's
fucking great
meant to be a shelfer almost. Like that's what it's meant to be.
Honestly,
it's an everyday drinker.
Yeah.
It's a great pour for what it is,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think those are a lot of good points, and I think everything I said was right. So everything Jason said, you kind of take it with a grain of
Jason's
salt.
got a drink in his mouth, so
You can't argue.
Yeah.
I'll wait till he drinks so that way you can't argue. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Sound off. See what. Tell us what you think about the secondary. If it's beneficial. If you fucking hate it and you want to murder the secondary in the butt with a knife,
Or the
then let us know.
tertiary.
Or the firstiary.
that's a great term.
Guys, share this if you liked it. For more Arsenic Culture, you can check us out on all the socials. We are at Arsenic Culture.
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
And we'll see you on the next one.